Don't worry, I can edit out some of this front bullshit. Just testing.
Gotcha.
But some of that B-roll stuff's actually pretty good, and it makes it into the episode. All right, you got your water, drink. All good then?
We're all good. We're all set. It's really good.
Hell yeah. All right. All right. What's up, everybody? This is Robert Peppo. I am here with Jerry, the Irican Arreola. This is podcast number 38 with Uncensored with Robert Peppo podcast. I appreciate you guys rocking with me this far. I promised you guys guests coming on. I got a really good one today. Someone I've known for a long time. He's getting very accomplished in MMA. He is currently undefeated. And today you get to hear a little bit about his story, his background, a little bit behind the scenes of a fighter in the fight game, you know, the what it takes, you know, like my wristband, the whatever it takes attitude, shit like that, and all that. So we're just going to dive deep today. Appreciate you guys rocking with me again. Please check out all the links in the description. Peppo subs. I'll put some links for Jerry in there, and I'll also have him plug himself probably when he does his intro, and then at the end as well. I'll make sure all that's in the description so people can follow you because you're on a tear right now, and I'm loving it. So
thank you.
Yeah, Jerry, go ahead and just introduce yourself. Go ahead and, you know, plug your Instagram, whatever you use, Facebook, shit, whatever.
You know, hi, I'm Jerry. I'm fighting out of McHenry, Illinois. My Instagram is Arreola MMA. Arreola spelled Arreola. Yeah, you know, and I got Facebook. It's also Jerry Arreola. I'm pretty easy to find on social media.
Yeah, and I'll be tagging you, so
yeah,
it's all good.
Appreciate that. And yeah, you know, I've been fighting for a while now, and we're starting to just lately make some great strides. You know, Rob was just at my last fight, you know, and
it was lit.
It was a sellout main event, you know. It was nice, you know.
Sellout, yeah, dude. It was packed as fuck. It was really cool. We're definitely going to get into that, although that's the last thing that we did, so it's current. I want to start at the beginning, kind of like how you even, you know, came up. So a little bit of your background. You know, you said you're from McHenry. Is that where you grew up? You know.
No, so I did not grow up in McHenry. I grew up in Bridgeview with my grandma and my mom, my dad. We all used to live together in Bridgeview, and then we lived there until probably I would say like 8th or 9th grade, and then that's when my parents split, and then I lived with my mom.
Bring this a little closer.
I lived with my mom.
There it is.
Hey, there we go. I was wondering why that sounded distant. And then I lived with my mom in McHenry, and then it's like complicated because then I came back for a year, and then
when was this? What age were you?
So I was probably like, what was it, freshman year, so 13, 14, when I was out in McHenry, and then I came back to Oak Lawn for my senior year. And then from there, and then that's when I came back, and then I was just working and training, you know, and yeah, you know, so from there.
So when in high school, were you an athlete already? Or did you do like wrestling?
Yeah, in high school I did football and I did wrestling. Those are my two main sports. I think I dabbled in others, but I didn't stick with them. My main sports were football and soccer.
Yeah,
or football and wrestling.
So I figured that because the way, like, your athleticism. When I saw you at your first fights, right? I figured you were someone like you. All right, you're a natural athlete, right? And then you put it together in whatever sport you're doing. Happens to be MMA for you now, but football and wrestling before that, you could see someone who has been training and someone who's natural or whatever. And I saw that from you, even your first fights, right? Yeah. You know, you had that ability, you know, to control yourself, balance, shit like that. That's innate, I think, in an athlete coming up. So were you always like sports inclined and shit back then?
Surprisingly, like growing up, I think I was very timid and shy, and I wouldn't apply myself to the fullest. Like, so I have like a funny story. When I was young and we were doing wrestling, me and my brother, and my parents would take us into like compete tournaments and stuff. And my brother was always like he had the confidence, go after it kind of style. And then me, I was always like, I was always physically bigger and stronger, but I was more timid and like shy. So then so in his matches, he's going out there, he's competing, he's winning all these medals, and then in my matches, I'm just like laughing, smiling, not really, going after it, kind of like, timid. I would just use like just all strength, just try to like bench the guy to the ground, and then the coaches are screaming like, put him in a half Nelson, and I'm just like, I was smiling, not really, just having the time of my life. And then it wasn't until I would say where I started trying was in high school. That's when I started seeing like more than I started seeing the levels to things, and I really saw levels to things was my junior year when I started wrestling at McHenry East, because that showed me like the levels besides just training, like discipline, diet, mentality, all the things that, carry across all other aspects of just in life,
Yeah.
So
Those are the things I preach like all the fucking time. The differentiating factor for me, I wasn't the most talented, I wasn't the smartest, but what I had in everything, as I got older, I learned to apply it, was discipline, habitual things that I would do on repeat, because that's what equaled the playing field for me. And I didn't learn that early. Fuck no. I learned that way late, I think. I recognized it early. I just didn't know how to apply it or why it really mattered. So for you, you're 22?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Okay. So you're learning it. You have already learned it 2 or 3 years before I fucking learned it. I think like 24, 25, when I realized, oh shit, whatever I'm doing ain't really working. And I know what to do. My ass just ain't doing it. But for you, especially in this last like 2 years of fighting seriously.
Yeah.
So 20 to 22, that's a good early time to have learned that and now start to apply it at the next level, right?
Yeah.
You spoke about levels, and you're learning about the levels yet again and again. And there's another level still. But to have that at your age now, or to have learned that at that junior year, starting, that's awesome. So then junior year, then going into senior year, you continued or what?
Yeah, junior, senior year. So, that's when I started wrestling and I started taking it serious. And, I saw, so we had like, I was naturally like a 182 4-pounder in high school. I walked around that weight. So that's what I'd wrestle at. But my junior year of wrestling, we had our 170 pounder was he was a freshman, but he was a state placer. So the kid was a savage, his name was like Jaden. And then our 184 or 2-pounder, I'm not sure. I think it's 182 in high school. He was ranked number 5th at 182. So like I had no chance at 170, and then I had no chance at 182. So then I had to bump all the way up to 195.
Yeah.
And I weighed like under 182, somewhere between 170 and 182. So I was always having to wrestle up like a whole weight class the whole year. I feel like a lot of my losses I attribute to that, but I feel like you could take it two ways. You can find an excuse from it, or you can take it as a learning, lesson to.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
There's no excuses in this game. Nobody cares, and just.
That's right.
Gotta wear that shit.
That's life though. That's really what it is. You can say, oh well, I got dealt this card, this hand, and oh, this happened to me, and I mean, it's okay. People will have sympathy, but there's not much that will happen. Yeah. Ain't nobody going to come to your rescue. Ain't nobody going to save you. So you're in that match with some big motherfucker, bro. Yeah. Just is what it is.
Find an excuse to win.
Yeah. And I wonder that might have actually maybe helped you more. So then,
definitely.
Yeah. Then you go wrestle someone your own weight. You're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or where you are now, right? You fought at 170 just now.
Yeah.
Having the experience of that bigger person maybe makes you feel like these guys lightweight.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Light work.
It's like when you're wrestling with only big guys, it's like you learn to like deal with that strength and that pressure factor, and you really have to hit your techniques right, or else you're just gonna get pancaked on the ground, or they're gonna just screw your shit up and just toss you and everything. So you gotta really develop, the aspect of the mind, like mentally. You gotta be smart. You gotta. This is a thinking man's game at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
The tough guy gets hurt. That's what Mike Tyson said.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, that's legit. I mean, there's so many things like jiu-jitsu, for instance. Weight, I mean, if you're skilled, doesn't matter much. You know, it does, right? If you're a big motherfucker, it does. If you're very strong, it does. Because if you're also skilled, now you're dangerous.
Yeah.
But if a small dude, you know, like one of my staff sergeants who's now like a sergeant first class, Sergeant Nasib, shout out. He probably weighs 160, but he's a fucking gangster. He's just a high level jiu-jitsu guy. And he'll roll with anybody and he'll make them look silly. Doesn't matter. Like I'm walk around 210, 215, not close. But he's skilled. He's been doing it a long time. And I had trained a little bit, but not really. And so the weight thing I think helps, but now if you tie it in with skill, now you're a force.
For sure.
Yeah.
Is he like ranked in like jiu-jitsu the belts, or is that through the you said
No. It's outside of the army, outside of the service. He does it on his own. I don't think he's become a black belt yet. I think he's a high level purple belt. Is that right before?
Purple, brown, then black.
I think he's a brown belt.
Brown belt.
It was one before, because I was talking to him recently, and he has not gotten his black belt yet. I think he's like 7 or 8 years in.
He should be a
he's
brown belt,
right,
black belt,
right about there.
With those stripes.
And he's had a bunch of injuries too. So again, that takes away from training a little bit. But he's the one just more recently that got me, you know, thinking more about training and things like that. And then my uncle's been in this game too. I kind of spoke to you about that. But I'm going to share with you a funny high school story from me. So I went to Providence back in the day. So like late 90s through like the early 2000s, it was a dynasty of wrestling. Like 8 in a row state championships. Okay. Multiple individuals, but also team level state champions. I played football. I didn't wrestle, but that's because everybody was good as fuck. So I knew if I did, which would have been my off season to stay in shape, it's cool, and I wanted to. I was like, dude, I'm getting rolled and destroyed by everybody. All my best friends just kick my ass. And one of my friends he wrestled like 205 or something. So I was like 160 in high school, and he was fucking awesome, nearly undefeated. And I just remember like, I have no fucking chance. And I'm getting my ass. It actually probably made me really good, because if I went against any average wrestler, I was probably decent. Because I'm going with these state fucking champs, which made me feel like I sucked. But actually was probably helpful, because I had good competition, right? Competition should make you better.
Definitely.
When you're rolling with good dudes, boxing with good dudes, whatever. And then him and I and his brother, who was also a state champ wrestler, started training at like Gilbert Grappling. G2 with Joey Gilbert. They were at the fight that night.
Oh, really?
So that's where we spent some time, because they were all high-level wrestlers together from like this south suburbs. So that's where we trained a little bit. I never competed or anything, but I'd love to roll just because they did. In high school, they were really good. So we just kind of continued it for fun and to stay in shape. But what you're doing is a whole nother level, right?
We're trying to combine like everything and just get everything together. You know, it's like a puzzle, and you're just trying to fit all the pieces together so you get the whole image, and there's no gaps in it. You know.
But you guys are doing a great job. So far,
coaches are keeping me on track. You know, it's just the grind aspect of it. You know, that people can't deal with. You know, like it's easy to just sign up for a fight and fight that night, but to really be great, you gotta like stick to a plan and just evolve your whole life around it, really. That's essentially what it is at heart. You got to take more than just the fight. Just forget about fighting, get your life in order first, you know, because your life should dictate, you know, everything, not the fighting, because at the end of the day, you know, fighting's not going to pay the bills, you know. You got to have everything in order before you go into and do that full time. So, yeah,
I think you're right. And I actually tell that to a lot of people. So the example I use is if your shit ain't straight now and you come into a bunch of money or a bunch of success, your shit still ain't going to be straight, and you'll just fuck that all up. That's literally what I think. Because I was that way. I wanted to look rich before I got rich. I wanted to do this before that, all that shit. And when I started to realize like nothing was sticking, like what the fuck? So as soon as I started to clean those other little pieces up, everything started, that momentum build. And now it won't ever go the other way. But I had to do that. Literally make sure everything else was in control. And that's why I love fucking with you, because in your mindset and how you're thinking about how you're approaching it, that's what high-level people like to see. And I think that's why you'll take it to a high level. So it's good to see. With your team. So we're talking about fighting in your team and all that. How did you get hooked up with them? Were they down in McHenry?
Yes. So how it all started was, so I was going to school at McHenry East when I was like 18, I want to say. And so during like the off season, when you're not doing wrestling, you're like, well, I wasn't really too into like football. I was doing it, but I was like, man, I love jiu-jitsu more. Like I love the competitive, like mano-a-mano aspect, you know. And what was the nearest thing I saw? It was a jiu-jitsu gym down the street from our high school. So I started going there, and it was called like MMA, but they only did like jiu-jitsu. I guess they had an MMA guy, but I was like cool with just jiu-jitsu. And then we were doing that for a little bit. And then I would say about 3-4 months in, we were all rolling on a Sunday, and this pasty ginger guy comes in, and I was just thinking like, man, I'm gonna like mess this dude up. Like, who is he? Like, you know, he comes in all smug looking, and I think he was like a brown belt. So I was like, I was like probably had like 40-50 pounds on him. And I paired up with him, and dude just started like fucking my shit up, you know. But he had me like in a guillotine at one point, and I was like refusing to tap because, you know, I had like a big ego. Of course. Like, this is before like the whole humbling process began. So then he's just cranking on my neck, and then I get saved by the bell. And then I remember looking at him, and I was like, damn, how the fuck is he doing this? And then he said he was talking to me about something about like how he could feel I had like a grind, like, you know, like I wasn't tapping right away, like, you know, like mentally strong or something like that. So he asked me if I was into fighting or if I would be interested in fighting, because I spoke with my jiu-jitsu coach about it, and then he was an MMA guy, so that piqued his interest, and then he invited me over to his place, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm ready for a fight. I want to fight like today. Yeah. Can you give me a fight today? Like, I'm down. And this is before like I saw the levels in fighting, because, you know, I had done wrestling. I went through the whole high school era of that, like, you know, wrestling, and thinking I'm like a badass, and like, all right, this is it. Like, no man could take me. And then, and then I was jiu-jitsu. I was doing it for 3 or 4 months, and then, you know, and then I saw all levels of that, and then boom, then I meet this guy, and he's an MMA guy, and he coached. He was a coach with Pat Curran, former Bellator champ, and there was another guy I can't remember all the credentials, but he's, you know, very experienced in the game, and he's one of the main guys that showed me a lot, you know, of why I think the way I do, like, right now. And sorry, I'm getting off topic, but yeah.
No, fuck, so, run it.
Yeah, so going back to that story, he invites me over to this place, and man, he has like one of his top guys. It was like Matt Cantwell, shout out to him. Dude, just lights my shit up, dude. He's like some big, strong, like, white guy, and he just, dude, at one point, he was like hitting me, and then like we break away, and then head kick, and I was just like, I was feeling like the ground was moving, bro, and then like round over, and I was just like, I sat down, I was smiling, and then Coach Beck comes up to me, he's just like, oh, what happened? You know, all smug, and I was just like, it was a bitter pill to swallow, man, but it opened my eyes, and, you know.
Sure does.
And then I had long hair down to like here. So like when we're sparring, my hair came unloose, and I'm just getting lit up with, like, you know, my hair in my eyes. And you know, I came back the next day, shaved it all off, and that's how I kind of started beginning my MMA journey and taking it more seriously.
I love it. That's a great fucking story. But it's true. I think that's what a lot of young people with, you know, machismo and bravado think, right? Mm-hmm. We generally, you know, feel, because we're strong and tough, that we could probably handle our shit. And that's probably true for the majority of people, I would say, except for the next level, right? Except for the guys trained, right? Yeah. And they're always out there. That's why I tell everybody, like, don't fuck with people. You don't know who you're fucking with at all. Definitely. You don't know. You don't know who trains. You can't tell. What if they're wearing a coat? You can't tell if they're strong, if they're skinny, if their fucking ears got cauliflower. You better chill. Yeah. You know, you don't know who's who, because you will get humbled quick.
And that's another misconception. Is just like, don't be even fighting in general out in the streets, because like at the end of the day, it's like some people just got nothing to lose. You know,
for sure.
And it's like,
that's right.
At the end of the day, if somebody can't fight, what are they gonna do? You know, they're gonna use a equalizer in their eyes, you know.
That's right.
A lot of crazy people out here, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, save it for the fucking gym and the ring, and then get paid for that shit.
For sure.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You ain't getting paid to fight in the streets. Remember that.
Yeah, if anything, you're gonna be paying, you're gonna be get sued and shit.
Medical bills.
Yeah, bro. Fuck all that. I got way too much to lose for that shit. Yeah, that stuff's done and out the window for me. Yeah. So that's dope. Okay, so you get checked, you get humbled. That's a good experience, right? I think everybody needs that. I had that in life, in football, in business. So like when I got a full ride scholarship to college for football, I was a gangster. I was like, dude, I'm fucking good. I'm fast. I got hands. I was all state, boom, whatever. And then you get to college and everybody's good.
Yeah.
So it checks you.
For
I
sure.
was like, what the fuck you mean I'm not starting? I don't understand. What, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a humbling experience for me. And then in business, whatever, every single level that I've gotten to, I've gotten humbled. Now I know I go in humble. Now I know I'm just going to work my ass off and grind. I'm going to get in that level and do what that level does and go. And there's plenty of more for me too. But anyone listening, I preach this kind of thing and you hear it yet again. So when you're trying to get to your next level, okay, remember to be humble, do the motherfucking work. You're going to take some fucking hits, literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. But it won't stop you. You can get hit and keep going forward. For sure. People are resilient as fuck in life, you know, physically, whatever you deal with. But okay, so you get to training. At what point in like from that time on to your first fight do you or whoever decide like, okay, you actually are ready to take a first cage fight?
So I started that when I was 18, and then it wasn't until like approximately a year later that we planned out a fight. I think this was sometime in the summer because I just turned, what was it, 19 or 20? And
is that typical, like a year in, like the gauging how you're doing or what?
Every gym's different, you know. So my coaches, these people, they're already established outside of fighting. They don't need fighting for money. Other gyms need fighting for money,
Gotcha,
so they'll just throw their fighters into the meat grinder and, you know, they'll get fucked up and CTE, all that. They don't care, you know. They're just thinking about themselves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
These coaches that I have now, you know, Brett and Vinny.
Yeah, they seemed great.
Oh,
everybody there was really fucking nice,
Yeah.
like legitimately nice, humble, approachable.
For
Yeah,
sure,
it was
you
cool.
know, no egos here. You know, they always keep me in check, and they always just keep me moving forward. You know, they never blow up my ego, anything bigger than, you know, what it is. We just keep me level-headed and in a straight path. But yeah, it was like a year of training, and then eventually they saw that I was picking up things quick. You know, like I didn't have the knowledge or the techniques that, you know, the other guys had, but I had like good instincts, and I had like a grit mentality, and that'll get you like a long way in anything if you just apply it right. And I would just never quit, kept showing up to all the practices. I would be like the first one there and the last to leave, and I would just keep grinding. You know, I was obsessed with it. I still am. Sometimes I know I get a little distracted with the food after the fights. You know,
that's okay. There's a window of opportunity there. you
know,
can seize that.
For sure, like that Thanksgiving feast, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it took me approximately a year. Then we scheduled a fight, and I just dominated that dude. All 3 rounds, just pummeled him, and then we took it from there, you know.
Cool. So after the fight, let's say, do they say, oh, I see something you need to work on, right? Because training is different than the fight, right?
Oh,
you can do as much as you can to prepare, but it's a whole different thing in the ring when you see how you react.
Yeah.
What are your nerves like, right? Are you nervous? Are you relaxed, right? So you see all these things that you will not see in training.
Yeah.
Did you guys kind of take that fight, look at it, talk about it?
Oh, definitely. It was like it was almost like you do all, how I see it is like you do all the training is like all the homework, and then the fight's like the exam, you know.
Fuck yeah.
So we definitely looked at it because I was just taking the guy down every round and just pummeling him. It was obviously like, okay, we need to get confident in our hands now, you know. We need to build that aspect. So I started working with Vinny DeCicco a lot, you know. Shout out to Vinny DeCicco. Organics, he's got an Instagram.
Nice. We'll put these links in there too. If Jerry wants, we'll put them all in there.
For sure. He's that's my coach, one of my main coaches. He's the striking coach, and also he helps me with nutrition and stuff like that.
Nice.
And brain fart.
Yeah, no. So first fight, breaking it down and seeing what to use for the next fight.
So we were taking into consideration like getting these hands right, and just looking at like what I wasn't doing. I maintained dominant position the whole time, but I would get carried away and give up dominant position, or they mostly wanted to see how I was gonna be mentally.
Yeah, fighter IQ, right?
They also wanted to test like they wanted to see my spirit. Like Brett told me since day one, he's like he'll test you by Shark Tanking you, and he'll know like you're not ready, but he just wants to see, and he wants to see if like at the end of the day, are you a pussy or are you not?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not gonna invest all this time and training and effort and time away from his family and all this just time, that he could be investing in somebody else, and and then he tested me, and then that's kind of what that first fight was, just to see how I was as a fighter,
Good.
Just mentally and everything.
And you felt good about it. Obviously, you got the win, but how did you feel? Like looking at yourself, watching it, and thinking about it.
So going back, man, that first fight, there's nothing like that first fight feeling, man. Like there's no way to like describe it. Everybody reacts differently. Some people are calm. Some people like get all emotional. I was kind of just chilling. I got my heart checked out by the doctor before, and it was really high, but I felt super calm, like ice in my veins, just walking out. I had Chris and Frank from Significant Strikes. They came out all the way to, I think this was in Indiana, to come see me, and they live on like the other side of Michigan now, so they're really nice people. They were working with us, and the fight went well though. Mentally, I was actually like surprisingly, I was the most nervous I was out of like all my fights.
For the first one?
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it was just like the unknown. I was fighting a guy 2-0. It's my first fight, and I'm like, damn, like, all right, time to apply everything I learned, and at that point you just kind of go autopilot, That's the best way to describe it. You just disassociate from everything. It's like a roller coaster ride, and once you hear that cage click, it's just like that inner animal in you, like fight or flight. Are you gonna like run or are you gonna fight, and I chose fight.
You can't fucking run.
For sure. It's just like, it just tests who you are like inside, like, are you going to be a bitch or are you not, are you going to apply all the training, or are you going to cower and just get your ass whooped, essentially. And it was a hell of a ride, rush, man. And it was just oh man, nothing like that first fight feeling.
I love hearing that. A lot of people never experience that, right? Mm-hmm. So some people, even me, I've not been in the cage, right? I've been in a fight, but I've not been in the cage like that. Mm-hmm. There's probably 1% of people, excuse me, that will ever actually experience something like that. So we have to live through you, right? Yeah. So I loved how you broke all that down for us. But that's true kind of fight or flight thing for anything. If you want to be successful, when your back's against the wall or you can't get out, you have to make that decision to go forward and do this thing. Mm-hmm. Make that fucking decision, because there's a lot of good shit on the other side of that.
For sure.
Like your win, like the coach is now believing in you probably, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing this next thing, kind of come alive from the success you've had in there. And if you never jump in, so like my last podcast was about the man in the arena, right? And I tagged you in it because of the fight. I put that out because I was then all in my own shit. Like, oh, dude, I fucking love this stuff. When you get into the arena of whatever you do, there's some like fucking energy, and you get invigorated from that shit. And I get invigorated like watching you do it. But every time I put myself out there and test myself, I get invigorated when I'm done with it. Like some fucking marathon or some dumb shit I don't want to do. And then I'm done. I'm like, fuck yeah. You just feel this other elation, and the dopamine rush and all this good shit that comes from that hard shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Outside of, just watching the fight, we've known each other for a while now, and I feel like certain aspects about my life, and it's more personal,
Yep.
It's not like you're just watching a random fight,
Oh yeah, that's right, absolutely.
And we spoke before, and I've let you know like how the training and everything was going, and then now it's like it's more personal now. It's like almost like a family friend or close relative or somebody fighting, and then all of a sudden you start to think like, oh shit, like damn, I don't want to see them get fucked up. But like, I know they're going to fuck them up. And it's just like, the jitters and, you know, the whole crowd, the energy, everything is just, it really puts everything into like perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you going in that cage, it's like, oh shit, like this is real now. Like when you have a personal connection with like a fighter and then you see them going in the cage, it's like you almost don't want to see them like get fucked up essentially. But it's like when you see fighters going in the cage that you don't know at all, it's just like you don't have any sort of connection, or it's almost like in a way like a video game. Like, oh, one wins, one loses. Yeah. Oh, that's it.
And it doesn't matter how fucked up they get.
Yeah, it's, you know, whatever. And then they get dragged back in behind the stage and you never see them again.
Which happened at the fight.
Yeah, plenty of guys fucking just fucked up, swollen faces, looking like Rocky, you know. But so it's just
it's true. It's an interesting perspective to be on the side of it, you know, with someone actually engaged currently in it. And I love it. But it's also what I try and do. A lot of people have been listening to me or fucking with me for a long time know I try and build like a circle of just fucking hitters. And that's in every genre, from, you know, my restaurant friends to you in MMA and any business stuff that I do. Just trying to bring those people together who are actually doing some shit, who actually fucking deserve the support and shit. Because our time is limited. Like you said, your coach is putting in this time and shit. But when I see people doing some shit and doing it at a high level and wanting to take it to another level, that's my shit. Yeah, and that drives me as well as me excited for you. For sure. You know,
that's super important. You know, you always gotta surround yourself with successful people, because, you know, at the end of the day, you are kind of like a sponge. You absorb what's around you.
That's right.
You know, my coach had a saying since day one when I would be training. He's like, you know, and I'd be saying, oh, I'm going back to like where I used to live, like Oak Lawn or something like that. And I'm just going to go hang out with people that I know. He'd know I'd be like partying with and just doing, you know, dumb shit. And he's just like, listen, man, I'm not going to stop you, but look, you can't hang with the eagle, or you can't soar with the eagles if you hang with the crows, you know? Right. So, you know, you got to pick and choose your priorities, essentially, you know? Right. And I really like that quote. It stuck with me. It's just like, you know, so everybody's on different paths in their life, and some people want to, you know, do other things, and
and that's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. It's at the end of the day, it's just like, as a fighter, it's very self-oriented, you know. It's very, you got to be, it's like very selfish almost in a way, because you have to think, how do I make everything revolve around me, you know? And it's been really hard, because it's like being in a relationship too, you know.
Sure.
Just meeting my girlfriend Daisy like a year ago, it was just kind of hard, because it was like, how do I encompass that now? And it's been a work in progress, but we've been doing really good. You know, I've just learned to like communicate more, and that's like another art in itself, you know. So I'm always learning in life, you know. I'm always learning new things, and it's just doing all that, but just getting everything to revolve around you. So.
And I don't think it is. It is a little selfish. That's the word we'll use for that. But the reason I don't think it's selfish is that if you do it and do really well, you can make a career out of it. You can provide for your family for it. Yeah. There's nothing selfish about that. Yeah. Okay. And there's nothing selfish about wanting to do well for yourself either. I think it's your duty to do well, as good as you can, for you, your family, your kids if you have them, your significant other, the other people that look up to you. Okay. Yeah. I think it's your duty. So it's not selfish to have to do that. So like in your sport, you have to make it self-centered, because it has to revolve around you, the fighter. Yeah. Okay. You have a team, you have coaches and all that. You have to take them in consideration, but you're the one. I told you this since day one, bro. This shit is you. Right. Yeah. So, and I want to help you as much as I can kind of make all that all work. Right. That would be my goal, to see you take this fucking super far. But like, having Daisy with you, the communication, bro. So like,
definitely helps a lot.
I put Alex through a lot of shit. I think everybody knows that. My ideas are pretty wild. I risk a lot of shit. But I tell her everything, and I paint the picture of what's going to come from this. Why are we doing this? Why would I want you to be involved in this or accept it? That's always important, painting the picture. And I think, you know, now that you're progressing along pretty well, it becomes more clear, right? So when you see a little success, okay, it becomes a little more real. When you just talk about it, shit seems a little crazy.
You know, in the beginning, like, she just sees me like going to fight another guy in a cage. She's like, there's always that stigma like, oh, fighters are stupid and they can't do anything else. And then I was just like, she didn't really see what I saw. She was just like, why are you doing this? Why are you fighting a man half to death in a cage for, nothing essentially? Are you even getting paid? I was like, a little bit, next to nothing, it's to build, it's to the next step. It's like, I see in the future what my plans are. I want to be a champion.
Yep.
Whether it be Bellator, UFC, whatever, that's my end goal. And she just saw it in the moment as like, I'm going in the cage, fighting a sweaty guy for nothing. And she was also scared because, when somebody loves you, they don't want to see you get hurt.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
and you can get hurt. There's risk in everything.
Risk reward is very high if you don't manage your your life outside of it. If you put all your marbles in, you can't put all your eggs in one. You gotta be smart with it, And
there's like the element of going all in, right? You used the word obsessed earlier.
Yeah.
I use this analogy. An Olympic athlete, the highest level you can get, their life probably isn't balanced. They probably have a lot of it under control to make that thing happen.
Yeah.
But I doubt that there's a lot of other shit going on to be an Olympic athlete. You probably have to deal with that for 10 years straight with nothing else, I would think. Whatever it is. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah.
Me and my goal is to sell my company for $100 million. I can't not do that shit every day. Right? I have to work on that every fucking day because that's like a ridiculous fucking goal.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I might not get it. But if we set that foundation up, you can kind of let that happen and it won't be, I don't want to say fucked up, but everything else will revolve around it properly.
For sure.
I guess.
Yeah. I was just thinking about like setting the base of the foundation, getting that established, and then you can build anything you want off that, You won't be struggling and I won't need to fight, When you need to fight, it zaps that life out of it, You don't have the passion anymore. Now you're just fighting for money, and that's not a good thing, You see a difference in fighters, like look at Conor McGregor, best fighter. That's hard to say, but
you could argue it. Some would argue it,
but
sure.
If you count like title defenses and all that. But yeah, he was. And when he was in his prime, man, he was knocking out like Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier. He was knocking out all these big guys. You can see it in the way he spoke, his hunger, his drive. He's like, I'm obsessed with this. He's mentioned David Van Gogh and all these. It was just hunger. You could see it in the guy. And then he starts making like hundreds of millions, Proper 12, all these big companies, man. Like, how can you blame him? But
sure.
Essentially, you see the difference in the level of fighter. Come up hungry, no money, versus established money. It's like, why would you even come back to it? It killed,
In my opinion, I don't think he should. Let your legacy be what it is.
For sure. Do like exhibitions like Floyd Mayweather's doing,
Yeah, for sure.
Make hundreds of millions, fight a bum. Like, who wouldn't do that?
But if it's in him, like it's in you to want to test yourself, I could see why he would want to. Because I think mentally we all think that we can do it. No matter how hungry the other person is, because Conor doesn't have to do that anymore. And there's an element of desperation when you have to do it versus you don't have to do it now, and you might lose that edge.
For sure.
And I've seen that. Do you know who the fighter Fedor Emelianenko is?
Oh yeah, the Russian guy.
Yeah. Well, he was one of my favorite guys growing up from Pride UFC. My literally most favorite guy. And when he started to come back, and I don't know why he did come back, and he had like another fight coming up, and he did okay. It would be like maybe he'd win, maybe he'd lose. It just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I just wanted to remember you just fucking rocking everybody,
knocking people out.
Yeah, and he was like sambo and judo, so he could throw fucking anybody.
Oh yeah.
But he could knock you the fuck out too.
Yeah.
And he's like a Russian bear, dude. And to see him come back now, older, I think he's like fucking 50 or something.
Oh,
and he's still a G. Don't get me wrong.
Fighting way past his prime though. Yeah.
And I just, you wonder why, I guess, but that's okay. To each their own, for sure. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. So I'll respect anybody who does their thing. It's all good. But
he kind of just rubs me as a guy that just loves it, and just just does his craft at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
I can respect that.
Yeah, I don't think it's for money, but yeah, again, he's like you said, like in his 50s. I don't know how old he is.
He's got to be 48 or 50.
He's been fighting forever. He's got a crazy amount of fights with a ton of legends, you know, Dan Henderson, all those guys. So I grew up watching those fights, man. Those are awesome. You know,
me too. That's how I got into this. About late 90s, you know, so early UFC shit. My uncle was involved in that. He's been out in California training jiu-jitsu and judo for a long time. And he had sponsored fighters, Chuck Liddell, Quentin Rampage, and all this shit. So he got me involved in it. And I even went out and did some stuff with him. He was involved in a company that did like cryogel. It's like icy hot basically, but better. It's like cryotherapy or whatever.
Oh, really?
He sponsored them with that. And so I would go out to these events with them, meet these dudes and shit, and just watch those early days of like Matt Hughes, George St. Pierre, fucking, you know, just the early bangers, dude.
For sure, all those legends.
It's come a long way, but I've loved it for fucking 20 years. And now to come full circle from that, to have you in the shit.
That's awesome.
So as soon as we started talking again about this, I called my uncle right away that day after we talked. I was like, hey, this is what I got going on. He's like, bro, keep me updated, dude. I'd love to hear this. And he's involved with another nutrition company out in California. So I said, hey, you know, we're going to keep an eye on him together and see what he does, because he's been involved in this and loves it too. So, yeah, man, the connection is great. So, all right. So through your fights, so we talked about first fight. You know, how did the progression feel, you know, through those next couple fights as you grew and got better?
Yeah, I felt my coaches have always kept me on a direct path going forward. We haven't taken any losses, but I always take every fight like a loss in a way. Like I always see like, you know, I always see holes, I always see flaws, and I'm always just trying to perfect it, you know. Like, yeah, I won the fight in a dominant fashion, or I submitted him inside a first round, you know, but every fight I always take like a loss. I don't take time off and I gloat on it, a victory. I'm like, oh, I won, I'm good. No, it's keep your foot on the gas and keep moving forward. That's the key to keep progressing, is just keep moving forward, you know, planning jiu-jitsu tournaments like right after the fight. You know, just competing, doing tournaments, keep training, doing privates with your coaches. This is how you keep advancing and moving forward, you know. And the way our gym culture is at One Touch is like One Touch Fight Team. That's where I train out of.
Shout out. And we'll definitely put that link in the description, because they were all super awesome. I appreciate them as well. Yeah,
we train out of Omega Training Center, and that's in Huntley. We partnered up with them after the break between Constrictor MMA, and then we partner up with John Murphy out in Huntley. But the way our gym culture is at One Touch is just it's like all about like we don't have crazy egos. We're trying to build every fighter like they're the most important, you know. And we do train all levels, you know. If you're just coming in a beginner or you're looking to become a pro, you know, we're training all levels. And yeah, we care about like every fighter. We're not looking to knock you out, or there's no ego like that. We're looking to improve everybody, you know. Because you go to some other gyms and it's just like, it's crazy. They try to like take your head off, or they try to, you know, just they have their favorites and they'll throw them at you, and they'll just feed you to the grinder, you know. We take the time to progress every fighter like fairly if we can, because we do have fights coming up and they're always putting new fighters, the fighters that have fights as priority. But yeah, you know, that's just how we do it over there, and coaches, you know, care about all of us. And
you know, on that point, I have a question. So in my experience, I had been to a couple different jiu-jitsu gyms and stuff. I mean, this is 10 years ago, whatever. Do you think it's important? So like you got a vibe there, right? You really like these guys. They like you. They support you, all that. But I've been, you know, I walked into a few places just to check the vibe and to get a session in or whatever. And I was like, this ain't for me. Like you kind of know that. So do you encourage someone who's getting into it or whatever to kind of try a couple different things? So most people might go local and be like, oh, there's one down the street. And if it's not their vibe, they just won't do it. But as me and you know, getting into some fitness, jiu-jitsu or something, you can really get addicted to this in a good way, making good habits, and getting healthy or becoming a fighter. What I would say, and I want to see if you agree with this, is that go to a couple places, especially if you don't feel like you fit in. Maybe you're brand new. That's okay. Yeah. But if you don't feel the vibe, try another place.
Yeah, test the waters, man. You're not always stuck on one option. There's so many gyms. There's so many things, whether you want to do kickboxing, karate, judo, jiu-jitsu, whatever, just start somewhere. Just start like today. Don't think tomorrow. If you keep doing that, you'll never start, Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow will never come. You gotta like legit plan a legit day that you can do it and go try it. You don't like it, that's life. Try something else, like just do it. And then if you don't like it, then there's other things,
For sure.
You don't have one option. There's so many gyms, so many things to do, but again, like you said, time, you always like, you never have enough of it. You can never get enough of it. So
so choose wisely, for sure.
Yeah.
But I encourage people to get into some sort of physical fitness, some sort of activity, some sort of thing to test you. I don't care what it is. Running, a new diet, something that's just going to improve you a little bit. Because I think some healthy aspect of jiu-jitsu, boxing, weightlifting, running aids in all the other parts of your life too. Definitely. It's a thing I kind of weave into all my stuff that I do, my talks, my army shit, all that. I found success in that. I found that it gives me more energy. I feel calmer. I get dopamine and endorphins released, and then also you can make it something, right? You can become a professional bodybuilder or professional fighter. And I think it improves all aspects of your life. And I've seen every high level successful person I look up to in a bunch of different genres have some part of that they do. And it's how far you want to take it. You could take it like you do, and that's your shit. For sure. Or you take it like I do now, and I'm meticulous, but I'm not trying to be a professional bodybuilder, fighter, nothing. I just love the shit.
Yeah, just keeping in shape. A healthy mind needs a healthy body. Right. And like you said, dieting and just doing what you're doing, like the training. How's that been going for you? Like your training, and I know
me.
I know you've done a lot of competitions.
I've been up and down so much. So I like in high school, let's say, I was 160.
Yeah.
I was fast as fuck. Football, wide receiver, kick return, punt return, whatever. Fast as fuck. 160. But the D1 coaches told me I was too small. So, I wanted to go to, U of I or, Florida State. And I was good enough, but they told me I was too small to develop into a, D1 receiver. So, I didn't have the height. At that level, everybody's big as fuck. So, I was like, motherfucker, what? So, I'm good enough. I'm not big enough, so I just need to go to the gym. Bet, motherfucker. And since then I just went on this tear of I got really big, like 250. Then I did a bodybuilding show, cut down to 250 to 180. Okay, shredded as fuck. And then I got back up for powerlifting stuff. Then I went to the Army. Then I ran ultra marathon. So I've been all over this spectrum, kind of. That's why I love this stuff. And again, shout out to my uncle, the same one I mentioned before. He's been in bodybuilding, jiu-jitsu, fitness. He's done 50 marathons. He's one of my mentors in that game. He's just such a fucking good dude. He's almost like a David Goggins you not heard of.
Yeah.
Motherfucker's always jacked. Always can run a marathon on command. Always training. Always hurt because he's training and still fucking does it.
That's
right?
Crazy, man.
It's just that mental toughness, right?
Definitely.
And he's my blood, so I feel like I got some of that. But I love it, so I like to test myself too. Up and down, whatever. So I want to hear from you though about your nutrition and kind of how you've evolved and how much does that play a part in your train up and losing weight for the to make weight.
Yeah. So as far as nutrition goes, man, I had a bomb dropped on me with that because, up until I started taking fighting seriously, I was, what was I, 18, 19? All before that, I was just eating fast food my whole life.
You don't really know.
Family, we just, we got there's 4 brothers, or me plus 3. So that'd be 4, growing boys in general. So it's just, there's never any leftovers, I never knew what that word was, you know. You grow up just hungry, just eating everything. And so, we would always just get fast food or just, spaghetti. Just stuff that can feed a family of 4.
Yep.
And so, as far as nutrition goes, it didn't start for me until I was 18 or 19. And I started fighting. And Vince DeCicco, he was my main mentor when it came to nutrition. He taught me everything I know now, essentially, giving me tips. And then I was also doing research on the side,
Sure. And there's so much that goes into it.
So much, man. Especially when you want to compete and be an athlete. There's there's surface level knowledge, and then there's next level knowledge.
And you're probably still scratching the surface,
definitely,
for sure.
I'm still learning.
Because I still learn every day too, and I've been in it 20 fucking years or some shit now. I'm
when you're cutting weight, like put some ghee butter in your coffee.
Yeah, I got ghee in the fridge right now.
So it's just like I'm learning new things every day, man.
Hey, shout out, ghee butter is fucking excellent, right?
Yeah, but it's like a butter substitute.
Better than butter, not like it's not like an artificial substitute.
Mm-hmm.
It's like actually the most natural way you can get like a dairy butter without other added oils and bullshit that'll like store as bad fat and shit.
Yeah, like they put preservatives and stuff, you know, to make it more stay fresh longer, but you don't want that. Yeah. Especially when you're looking to compete at the highest level. It's like putting regular gas in a car or like that high octane, you know. Right. Your car you know, your body needs to run on a higher level and you need to perform at the maximum output. So can
you feel the difference though? I try and relate this it to people if they don't know. I know how good I feel when I eat good and I'm at my weight I want to be. Yeah. Motherfucker, you feel good. Oh, dude, you know, mentally sharp, right? You feel physically capable. Mm-hmm. Is that the same, you think, once you started to kind of manipulate this nutrition? Did you feel sometimes when you get down way low weight, we don't feel good. Okay.
You're surviving.
Yeah. But on the way down, I feel like there's this best part right before you get to like too low, when you got to drop the water and all that bullshit. Yeah. That you become like real mentally sharp. Mm-hmm. Everything just starts to just work better. I feel like
your body's like just adapted. That's ideally where you'd want to be at. Because you got to think back then in like, you know, the Stone Age, like, dude, we were hunters. You were the hunter gatherer, and you had to be. That was our main aspect of how we killed our food back then. Was we would sprint, you know, for miles on end, exhaust an animal, and kill it. That was our main way of hunting. So, you know, nowadays you look at all the food, it's crazy the amount of calories it has and the amount of value as far as nutrition is stripped. Yep. So you're getting both. You're getting high sugar, high salt, and a lot of calories with no nutritional value. Yep. And like, dude, a burger from like McDonald's, have you seen like how many calories it has in it? Like, dude, you're eating a burger that's like gonna give you almost like your entire day's worth of calories, essentially. That's right. And you're getting no nutritional value. So then you wonder why, you're at work and you're tired and you feel like shit and you got no drive, no motivation. Like, look what you're putting into your body. Like, your body tells, at the end of the day, is like, it tells the outside world, like, you know, not all the times, because people do have legitimate reasons, health issues and all that, like thyroid. And there's so many legitimate reasons. But for the majority of people that are healthy-bodied, you should, you know, use your body and, you know, test it and, you know, don't go throughout your whole life not testing yourself because, you know.
I just want everybody to feel good and do their best.
For sure.
Because I've seen it work.
Mm-hmm. It worked for me too.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say for me, where I felt like in that ideal state was at in my 80s, like 85, going like right there, 80, 85, before I started dipping into the 70s. Once I started hitting in the 70s, I'm like just dreading everything. I'm like, you're waking up hungry, you're going to sleep hungry, you're just, it's in that mindset. You just want to fuck shit up, man. You're ready for the fight to come.
Fuck get this shit over with. So what weight do you walk around at normally then? Like once you come off, I mean, because you're still only a week.
A week after the fight, off.
So you're probably only like 180 now or something?
Yeah, I'm probably like 80, 90. That's where I normally float around. Okay. If I'm like, that's where I float around at. Off season, like in general, if I know I'm gonna have a long time off, I'll probably get up to like maximum 200, you know. But that's just not ideally where I like to be at. I'm normally in the 80s, 90s, you know. Yeah.
So do you feel now your off seasons, they might be a little shorter now because I know you're going to be, you know, getting into some next fights.
Rapid fire.
But do you think you're going to keep it more where you want to be because now you're not only more knowledgeable, you know how to control it, you know what to eat, your training is going to increase. I think that's more ideal than getting like a big
huge weight cuts. That's a lot of stress on the body. Yeah,
right. For sure. I think that's what I think. And I've done both. I've seen both work for people. It's just of my opinion now, and I'm not your coach. So you just take this with a grain of salt, whatever. Yeah. But I've seen it. I think that the best way forward now, with all my research I'm doing for myself, that the best thing is to keep it close to where you're at. Yeah. You know, you're never going to roll around in training at 170 and then drop weight. That you'll be fucking... You'll lose all your muscle and shit. For sure. But Yeah, it's always interesting to hear how people approach it because there's different bodies of thought. You know, some other school might be like, nah, bro, we're going to jack you up, get you real fucking strong, and then just strip you the fuck down.
No, that's never, I mean, that's kind of maybe old school mentality as far as like.
Well, I came up in the old school, that's why.
Yeah, you know, get real big and then cut, and then for the fight, your kind of gas tank took a hit, and then you're going to hope. But, you know, when you get up there and it's just like, it comes down to it, you're okay, you'll be bigger, but then you're going to be more zapped from the weight cut, more time in the sauna or the tub, whatever you choose to do. It's gonna hit your gas tank, and yeah, you'll be bigger, stronger, but you're probably gonna be a little more slower. You're not gonna have as much juice to go. Our coaches, they want us, closer to the weight and just keep it ideal year round. So it's not huge weight cuts, because you gotta think at the end of the day, that's all affecting your organs. Cutting weight's not healthy. As far as you.
That quickly, that amount.
That's dehydrating yourself is not healthy. And you gotta think the more you do it, the harder it is on the body, especially when you get older. If you look at I forgot what that one fighter's name was. He was a wrestler.
There's been a couple of those.
Yeah,
so,
wrestlers are known for cutting a lot of weight. Yeah, whatever. Or just leave it at that. He ended up, at the end of his career, just missing weight a lot because putting all that stress on your organs and everything. And you got to think too, once you hit a certain point when you're cutting weight, you're no longer taking it like from your muscles and from your body. You're taking it from your cerebral fluid in your brain. That's the cushion around your brain. For people that don't know, that's what your brain is essentially floating in. So when you strip that, you're also stripping the body's natural like shock absorber in the brain. Yep. So now when you're getting hit, you're more prone to concussions. You're more prone to getting knocked out, and that's serious. That's life-threatening shit right there.
Absolutely. And there's been a ton of that. So, CTE, any brain trauma type stuff has been a super topic in the Army from the last 20 years of war. But just imagine being dehydrated. So Afghanistan, Iraq, there's been reports of 140 degrees in Afghanistan. Iraq. And in Afghanistan, when I was there, it was 100 plus or whatever. So then imagine taking a blast or concussion of some sort, or even rounds out of a 50 cal. It's shaking you for sure. How does that work? It's exactly what you're saying. And they have not been able to tie all this together yet, but it's becoming a major issue. And so to kind of address these things and actually have some knowledge behind it's fucking important. People, they don't know. And that's not their fault. Yeah. It's complex shit. But it is very important for longevity, for fighters' health, or boxers, later in their life and in their career,
Yeah, and this is all stuff we've been like just learning about. Like came out in like the 90s with football, the NFL. They're like, why is everybody dying early deaths? Like why are a lot of our stars dying early? And then that's when they started doing like autopsies and looking at their brains, and they're like, man, their brains. This 35-year-old has the brain of like a 60-year-old.
Hella trauma.
All that CTE and all that continuous, clashing of heads, and all that, your brain is at the end of the day, like the most sensitive part of your body. It's the organ that runs everything. And, I also read like an article, it was saying how like, if we had like the anatomy of like a hummingbird, because hummingbirds, like they're an interesting animal. This is like off topic, but
no, cool. Yeah, run it. I love it.
Their tongue actually like wraps around their skull, so it's like a extra layer of shock absorbent.
Damn.
Or not? Yeah. No, what is it? Not a hummingbird. The ones that hit the wood.
Oh, woodpecker?
Woodpecker.
Oh, shit. They're very similar birds, though.
For sure. They both have long beaks.
And they both fly like super fast, like right here.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. But that's dope, dude. So nature has so much shit they could teach us if we fucking actually took the time to learn like you did about that. But nature, as far as what they do, nutrition, fucking everything. So that's super dope. But okay, so got some nutrition down. What about your cardio, right? So from some of your fights, it doesn't seem like you get tired at all. What was your longest fight, and how did you feel, and what do you guys do to prepare for cardio wise?
My longest fight was probably my title fight at Caged Aggression at 170 against Kyle. That went 4 rounds, but I was I was taken down sometimes, but I feel like I would pull guard to let's try to look for the submission, and you know, we learned from that, and then in our future fights, we just learned to just never never do that, because it's just not ideal with fighting. You know, you do not want to do that, because then you get finished on the ground. So we learned from that, but
not ideal in cage fighting. But in jiu-jitsu, you might want to pull guard because you know.
Yeah, it was earlier in our career, so we take our learning curves as we go, and that went 4 rounds. We TKO'd him. We trapped an arm, and we just hammer fisted him until we got the TKO.
How did you feel for the 4 rounds?
4 rounds, I felt amazing. Cardio was
I mean,
good.
it looked good. Yeah.
I was ready to go like another 4, man. Like not even just piping myself up. I mean, my coaches, we pushed me so hard for that fight, because it was all the fights before were 3-rounders. This one was a 5-rounder, and I just imagined like it was just gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
You gotta figure 5 threes. That's 15
have to be prepared
minutes
for it.
15.
So if you're not, bro, if you gas out, like to me, that'd be the worst way to go out.
Oh yeah.
That not that you were beat because you were not as good as him.
Yeah.
But just because you got tired, like I know it happens. Don't get me wrong. For training or because you're cut, I get that.
Yeah.
It just to me would be the worst way out.
Yeah, it's always like that what if factor. Like, what if I just would have ran the extra mile? What if I would have put in just 30 more minutes every day? That's X amount of hours every week, and it makes you think. That will eat at you. If you put in a full camp and you put in all your effort, you got nothing to be ashamed of or sad about. You did everything you had to do, and all you can really do is just take that loss how it is and keep moving forward. Don't sit. Don't take time off. You take time off, you're gonna get comfortable sitting on the couch, and you're just gonna lose the edge, like we talked about earlier. But my cardio for that fight was amazing. I feel like that played a major factor in me getting the win, because he, after the end of the 3rd round, I saw it in his face. He was like, he was just regretting life, and I was just, I think I said something. I was like, oh, not so serious now, or something in his face, because he was like the whole time serious, and then 3rd round, that's when I saw like that break in the mental. He got tired, and fatigue makes a coward of like all men, and the 4th round, that's where I finished him. And then as far as my cardio progressing, I feel like it's always been good, because we've always incorporated a lot of running, a lot of grappling, a lot of striking cardio too, because we get the best of both worlds. We got Brett Brendel, who's our jiu-jitsu / he's like technical, he likes to incorporate like with their combinations, chaining things. And then Vinny's like our old school boxer. So, we're doing like those neck training, he's got all that at his house. So we go over there, and that's over in Johnsburg. So Brett lives more in the like Woodstock area, kind of over there. Yeah. So as far as that goes, it's like you get the aspects of both. So it's like we're not just training one aspect of cardio. We're getting both looks different. There's different kinds of cardio, as you got like when you do marathons, you train different than if you were doing like a shorter race.
It does not translate. Just because I can run a marathon, if I had to roll right now, because I'm not in boxing shape or jiu-jitsu shape, but I can run a marathon right now. Pretty confident. It wouldn't be my fastest, but I could do it. Yeah. But if we were to roll for like 2 minutes, I'd be fucked because it just doesn't translate.
For sure.
You really do need to work that up. I don't know how that works on like a literal cardiovascular level. Yeah. Why it doesn't translate over? Probably because the muscle and oxygen that you're using different muscles, obviously.
For sure.
But I remember the first time I got back into boxing, it was like during deployment. We had a boxer down there who ran a gym, who was there, brought some stuff. I was like, fuck, I'm out of shape. But I was in great shape.
Yeah.
I could beat everybody in our runs. I was fast at our runs. Even at 215 pounds, I would beat everybody. And I could run forever.
Yeah.
But then boxing is like 2-3 minutes in. Fuck.
Yeah.
And actually up there, we were like 8,000 feet in the Hindu Kush Mountains. So at elevation, it's even fucking worse.
Worse.
Fucking much worse. So some guys say training at elevation is good for cardio or whatever. So when you get back down, your body can absorb all the oxygen at like sea level.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
And you just fucking go. I can attest to that shit.
Really?
So start of our deployment, 8,000 or 9,000 feet in the Hindu Kush Mountains. bro, 2 miles was fucking horrendous. But then we got acclimated to that, got good. I was solid. We got down south at sea level. And I was like,
you're zooming down there.
Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
So it's you can definitely tell. It's not easy for you to get that training here because like in Illinois, there's no difference really.
I mean, we got glacier parks. That's why I jog at, you know, but it's like only 20, 30 feet.
Great for, muscle cardio for that.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
that vast elevation difference, if you ever get to try that or train, maybe someday we'll fucking get to fly out to somewhere and train
that'd be
at
dope.
elevation to try it and to see the difference. It'd be dope as fuck.
Yeah.
But that was a massive difference. But the cardio for like wrestling and jiu-jitsu and grappling versus boxing versus running is different. But you guys incorporate all of it?
Yeah, we do MMA. We train MMA. It's just all aspects. And it's also nice that we train at Omega Training Center. We're partnered up with them because we do wrestling with them, and then they get high level college wrestlers, and I get to wrestle with them, and then through like the MMA community, we get MMA fighters, which is like with the striking and kicking. We get good like kickboxers, we get good strikers, and it's just all these different looks essentially. So it's not like you're surprised cardio wise when you can't only wrestle. Now we're only doing stand up, or we're only wrestling, no punching. So then you have to wrestle. You're gonna have to learn to like survive and adapt and overcome it. I feel like another big thing too is that people don't take into account is technique. Technique and breathing, not holding your breath when you strike. Because if you hold your breath, like you're gonna gas yourself. Doesn't matter how good you are. You gotta think of your cardio as like when you breathe, when you punch, it's like it depletes and then refills when you breathe. If you hold your breath, it's going to deplete and it's not going to come back. And you only have a definitive amount. So it's like technique is super important, and just being relaxed. Don't be so nervous. This all comes through years of training experience, having the right coaches. Like the main thing I could say is just if you are looking to train, find a good gym that best suits you, that will keep you in it for the longest consistency wise, make sure, that your coaches, have your best interests at heart too, and do the right things, try to build good habits right off the bat, so you don't get ingrained with, improper, eating habits, training, everything, it's better to start off with a good base than have to go back and unrework years of improper training or techniques.
When I went back, maybe it was a year or two ago, just to roll a little bit. I went in there like I know nothing, because after some time off, it's a perishable skill. Although I know it conceptually, I know I fucking not where I used to be or whatever. And so I'd go in there like I know nothing. I'll start with a single leg and then I'll start in the guard or whatever. Just keep it simple. But yeah, man, humble yourself and do that. I think for sure people should.
But I feel like if you had that training before, it's kind of muscle memory.
It is. Yeah, it is.
You'll learn quicker.
Yeah.
It'll come back easier than if you had nothing. So.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, sweet. So go through a couple fights. We get to your we'll fast forward to this last fight now. Your main event title fight.
First main event.
Yeah, fuck yeah. Nice. That shit was awesome at Bourbon Street. You looked great. The crowd was hype. We got to work together for it. And you can talk about it if you want. I know it. Coming in, you had to deal with a few things right before this fight.
A lot of adversity with that fight. That was probably like my hardest fight in terms of training and everything. Yeah. I love that fight. It was my favorite fight to date because it really, it's not easy, but it's easier to have a fight when you feel amazing, you feel great, everything's going well, your dieting's going well, training's going well, you feel great. But for this fight, it was different because I just kept getting like run-ins with sickness and everything, and it was just like, fuck, man. Like I got 3 weeks out I got COVID. Originally got COVID like further out, and then earlier in the year, and then 3 weeks from the fight, I get like the flu from a teammate, and so
that's as you're depleting, right? As you're coming down in weight, you also have to put that. that ain't ideal.
Yeah, because when you get sick, you just want to just eat hot. You know, your body wants to eat to, you know, help recover, and then your energy levels depleted as it is from dieting down, and then the sickness just doubles it, and then you just don't want to do shit. But then you gotta get up and you're like, fuck, man. Like if I don't, my opponent, he's out there training right now, so
fuck yeah,
you're gonna get outworked and you will lose. So yeah, I get the flu 3 weeks out, and then, you know, and then again I get now this is 2 weeks out from the fight, and then I get COVID again. So I'm just thinking like, at that point I'm like, I remember laying in bed. I was like kind of just fucked for a whole week, you know, just I tried to train, but this is now my second time getting it 2 weeks out, and it just hit me different than the first time. First time was like my hardest. I felt like really sick, but I was still training the whole time. For this one, it was different. I felt good physically a little bit, like I still had the body aches and all that, but then energy level was just non-existent. Like I was like, dude, I was like sleep, like just walking, like, you know, I would try to jog and I would like be yawning and just shaking. I was like, fuck, man, I feel like just like shit. And then, yeah, man, I made it happen.
So during that, how did you feel mentally? Like, what were you thinking?
Oh, mentally, I was just thinking like, there's two things I could do. I remember after a week of just being bedridden, just trying to, you know, just kick it essentially. I'm just taking my vitamins. Mentally, I was just like, I remember waking up and I was just thinking like, okay, you know, I tested myself and I was now negative, and I was just like, okay, I got like a week and a half until the fight. Mentally, I just told myself, I was like, all right, I have two options here. I can either be a bitch and pull out, and I have a valid excuse. I just had the flu. All these excuses are coming in my head, and I was like, and I started like, my body started to like that idea, like, all these excuses, all these reasons to stop. You know, I could just do that, and that's a valid out. There's my out. You know. And then the other side of me was like, you know, it was like I was seeing two paths in my head. Yeah. The coward path, which was to give up and, you know, be rational, and just, you know, you were sick, you had all these valid excuses. Or you can take, you know, the champion route, the winner route,
warrior motherfucking mindset.
You know, and I envisioned that route, and I envisioned, you know, me going out there no matter what, you know, whatever, sickness, doesn't matter. I was going to show up, I was going to fight. And I think of all my family, friends, you guys coming out and being there, and I'm like, damn, those tickets aren't refundable either. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta go. I'm gonna try to get my ass beat by everybody else. Yeah. Like, dude, what the fuck? We bought all these tickets and you're not even gonna show.
Yeah, bro.
So, you know, and then I chose that route, and then everything else just started to seem like I started to just take it how it is. Like, I knew mentally, like, my cardio wasn't the same, like, as good as it could have been, but I just took it how it was, and I was just like, from this point on, I'm just taking everything how it is, and we're just going to keep going forward. And that helped me mentally a lot, because if you look back, like, fuck, I can't run as long because the sickness affected me. And then it just, this whole victim mentality. Yeah. That's not a winner mentality. You will essentially just lose, because you're always finding excuses. Yep. You're always finding excuses, and you gotta think like a winner, you know. And a winner is just take accountability and take it how it is, and keep moving forward off that. You know? I keep saying keep moving forward, but like that's just how you gotta. You gotta with everything, you know. You gotta keep.
I have those few same things that I tell myself, so I wear this every single day, whatever it takes. Yeah. I've literally haven't taken this off in about 3 years or something like that. I take it off. I wear it every single day, but I take it off just if I put some other shit on, if we're going out nice or some shit. Mm-hmm. But because of that, you'll say the same thing, because we make these things habit that then form what we actually do and how we live. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important. I think people don't do that. They kind of go whimsical around and don't know. They got no path, no thing that keeps them centered. Mm-hmm. But I can super appreciate that you said that you had this, you know, battle in your mind, because sometimes the comfort route is calling us. And I want people to know that someone like you, a fucking undefeated MMA fighter, is a fucking hard thing. Or someone like me, like people say, oh, you're always motivated. You love to run. No, the fuck I don't. Yeah. You know, I'm not always motivated. I always know what I have to fucking do. So that comes across as motivation. Mm-hmm. But dude, when my fucking alarm goes off at 4:30, sometimes I'm like, dude, fuck. But no one knows that.
Yeah.
No one hears me upstairs being like, motherfucker. Sometimes I don't want to do that shit.
Yeah.
And that's not motivation every day. That's discipline. Right?
That's the main difference right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to do things when you like to do them. You know, it's hard to do the things that you don't want to do, but you have to do. You know, that's the difference between like an amateur and a pro. And you know, that's where I'm approaching right now, is just building. We've now fought, so we're 7-0 now, and as far as career wise,
7-0. I think I said 6-0 on my last one, or to introduce you. Mm-hmm. So
it's 7. No, well, they messed it up at the other fight. They said I was like 5-0.
Oh, okay, that's why then.
Yeah.
It's not me.
Yeah. So yeah, between that fight
gotcha,
to that one recently, it was like it was only like a couple months, so it was like very recent. Okay. You know, so they only had it down as 5. Gotcha. I was actually 6 now. 7, but
put some respect on his name.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. So, yeah, just doing the things that you don't want to do, but you have to do them. You know, that's the discipline. That's what I'm approaching. Building that level of discipline. You know, that's our next step. Yeah. You know, we've always had good discipline when it came to doing the things that we needed to do, but now it's just taking it to that next level, and that's what it's about being pro. And I'm glad you mentioned that about, you know, the motivation and discipline, because that really showed me in my last current fight, you know, discipline. You know, I was always motivated for my fights when I felt good and everything. Yeah. And this is like I've had encounters with injuries in my past fight. I think it was like my 3rd fight. I don't know if you can see that. The cameras can see that. I sliced these 2 fingers. I needed like 6-7 stitches. You can see right there. Yeah. And that was like a week out from my whatever fight. So then like it was like a day or 2 before my fight. I got them taken out, and then like we just wrapped them really tight. And then after the fight, we took off the tape. They were just like bleeding a little bit. I was like, oh, this is an excuse. But I just went through with the fight. Didn't give a shit. We wrapped it. Still fought. We won. Unanimous decision. But yeah, you know, it's super important. That's what separates, you know, the weak from the strong. Yeah. The average fighter from the champion fighter is that next level, like you said, you know. And that's what I noticed with a lot of greats, you know. Like you said, David Goggins earlier, you know. That dude probably like one of the most disciplined guys on the planet, you know.
Savage as fuck.
Yeah, I love that guy, man. Watching his videos, it's just like, stay hard, stay humble, dude. All his videos are just.
But you know what, man? He's legit. And if people just applied it just a little bit, you can go super fucking far. He applies it at an extreme level, but his whole thing is like, dude, apply it in some level to yourself. Yeah. And you can get pretty fucking far. Yeah. And that's what I love about it, because it's legit. And we experience that a little bit. Yeah. And hopefully a lot more.
And that'll help you in everything, not just, you know, physically. That'll help you mentally, to help grow your businesses and just be like a
legit
mentally stronger person, you know. So
because you deal with this shit, everybody deals with shit in their life. You know, so if you're literally mentally strong, physically strong, capable, you can fucking handle that shit. Have you heard the 2 wolves parable?
I have not.
We all have 2 wolves inside of us.
Oh, I think you refreshed that.
One is the one that will say, you know, negative shit, or you don't need to do that, or be talking. And the other one is a hungry motherfucker that tells you what you got to do. And the one that wins is the one you feed, right? Yeah. The one you starve fucking dies. So we all have 2 wolves in us. Feed that fucking right one. And it becomes stronger, stronger, and stronger. That's legit what I think all the fucking time. Yeah. And I feed that, like, the no negativity in my head. I don't deal with drama, like, quite literally in my life. I don't deal with drama. I don't deal with bullshit. I don't want negativity. If that's around, that's it. That's gone now.
Choose not to associate, and you cut it off.
That's it. Yeah. And then when that happens, the rest of things happen like organically, how they should. They just start to come, all the good shit. Yeah. And I've noticed that, and I'll never go back the other way. So that's legit as fuck. So now, what's next for you? So you got off this last fight. You're only a week out. You know, so I don't know. You don't have to have the answer now, but what do you think?
I have a pretty solid plan.
Oh, fuck it, run it then.
Yeah, we're either looking at getting another. So we are gonna fight in March. Okay, at Cage Aggression in Davenport.
Sweet. March is my birthday month, so let's get it.
Yeah, let's go.
Fuck yeah.
Like
okay, March 6th.
6th. might be later in the month,
Nah,
but
fuck
hey,
it.
you know, it'll be a good,
Yeah.
good show. We'll fight in March. I don't know if it'll be a title or, you know, there's talks of going pro. We don't know. We got to see. We do have opponents in mind, so we got to see what matches up.
At the amateur level and pro level, or what?
Both. We're looking at both. We're seeing,
sweet.
you know.
Yeah.
So it might be an amateur fight, it might be pro. We don't know. So we got to, you know.
Yeah. Well, you take your coach's lead on that too, right? Because they're going to help you make that decision, and you with them together. There's no wrong answer, I don't think, right? Getting experience is what it is. And you know, I don't know. I've not been with someone who's progressing like that. Yeah. And so it's very interesting to see how that works. And I assume if you get to fight a pro and you win, that's how you become pro. Is that what it is?
So here in Illinois, you only really need 3 fights to go pro. It depends on your coaches. I feel like the smart route, get your experience at the amateur, and when you make that jump, be ready, you know. Because it's like at pro, this is the big leagues now. You know, you're fighting people that aren't just doing it part-time. This is full-time. This is it. This is the real fucking shit. You're gonna start fighting people that like are doing this to support their families. Right. Like, you know, it's serious biz. You know, start throwing elbows, knees to the head. You know, it's like adding those extra tools to your belt. But yeah, you know, it's just it depends solely on your coaches. Do they think you're ready, or do they think you're not ready? With me, I feel like we've progressed at a good rate, and it was fairly quick since we started. You know, we've only been, you know, training for like 2 years, and now we're here.
It's impressive.
You know, we did the right steps, and I feel like we're reaping just a little bit of the reward. You know, we still are just at the tip of the iceberg.
Sure.
You know,
fuck yeah. That's why this is exciting. Yeah. You know, because you're young, you're hungry, you're in great shape. You have good coaches, right? Now we're trying to tie the other back end stuff in. Yeah. Right. So this is a really great time. I'm excited as fuck for it. Not only one, because I love it, but because I want to see you fucking win, dude, and win in life and in the ring. There's a 2 very different things that can happen together, and that's been my thing for everybody I fuck with, is to win in whatever you're doing and in life outside of that. Yeah. So that's what I love to see. So.
It's like you can have the belt, but then you're living in some busted down apartment. You know, it's like,
you know, there's an element to that up front, right? That sacrifice portion of things. Yeah. I think everybody successful had to go through that. That portion of it, at least all the people I look up to did, and I did myself as well. Yeah. Kind of that time you got to eat shit and earn it. But you know, where you're at now is a cool tipping point. That's what I like to call it, the tipping point. You know, you've gotten to here, and it goes to that next level, and it's exciting to see. So we're quite eager to see, and hopefully the next time we do a sit down like this, it's that you've gone pro, and that we've taken it to some fucking next level. It's gonna be dope.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Well, anything else? I mean, we brought it all kind of current to where we are. We hit a fucking bunch of shit.
We talked about a lot. I mean, I just you know, thank you for having me on this podcast. You know, I like to state that I enjoyed it. This was my first time doing like a podcast like this, so
fucking natural, dude.
I was maybe like sweating a little on this side. I was like chill. It's funny, you know, you can like go out, it's just stepping outside your comfort zone, you know. It's like, this is like entirely different, like going out and fighting in front of a bunch of people. I mean, it's just like, it's just you and me and this camera, and it's a different feel, you know. Like, and this is coming from somebody that just walks out in front of a crowd. The fuck? Like, that doesn't bother me, but then like this is just like different. So,
but you did it, right? The whole thing is being the fucking man in the arena.
For sure, you know. This is just all about stepping out of your comfort zone, doing things that you never done before, and if you fail at it, so what? You know, you did it, you know. And to be great at anything in life, you're going to have to take those losses, you know, before you start seeing progress. You know, losses are progress at the end of the day, you know. So, well, I appreciate it. I'm honored and humbled that you did this with me and took time out of your day. I appreciate that very much. Thank you. When is the fight you just had going to be available? Because it was on pay-per-view. But I don't know when these things get released, you know, because I'd like to share it, of course. We all have our, like, you know, the clips and stuff. Yeah. But they did a great job filming it. So normally after a fight, they take like 30 days. Okay. My brother live streamed like the event posted it on YouTube. It's like, it's not as good quality, but it's still on YouTube. It's
there. Okay.
Yeah. All right. it would just be under my name, you know,
Okay.
Jerry MMA,
Okay.
and then it would be my most recent one,
Got you.
Bourbon
All right.
Street.
All right. Well, we'll put some links in the description either way. I'll be sharing some stuff anyway. We'll talk offline about if we throw a fight or two that you've had in the past, whichever one you want to highlight up there, because they can find it anyway. But I'll put all the links in the description. Again, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you to Jerry. I'm going to attach all this stuff. But yeah, you're going to see some more shit, and I'll be sure to post it all. So without further ado, talk to you guys later.
Peace.
Out. Oh, good shit, man.